Now on Good Morning America First Look, questions about food safety as a nationwide salmonella outbreak expands, while at the same time, the intestinal illness linked to lettuce is also growing.
Concerns about the dwindling supply of U.S. missiles because of the war in Iran. President Trump reportedly confronting Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Trump speaking out overnight.
The fallout from the high-stakes primary dividing Democrats. The focus now on everything from grocery prices to aid for Israel.
The mother on trial for the death of her 3 children. What the family's former nanny said on the stand.
New clues on what sparked this massive rocket explosion on the launch pad.
The debate over a new surveillance system being used by police across the country. How some officers have allegedly misused it.
Plus, an airline now charging to store bags in the overhead bin.
And the legal battle over the Buc-ee's logo heats up.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Batal. We begin with new questions about food safety as a nationwide salmonella outbreak expands.
At the same time, the intestinal illness linked to lettuce is also growing. Both outbreaks are putting public health officials to the test.
This morning, the CDC says a salmonella outbreak linked to jalapenos distributed to restaurant chains including Chipotle and Qdoba is growing. Officials now say 345 people have gotten sick in these 27 states, and dozens of people have been hospitalized. The peppers were grown in Mexico, and both restaurant chains have now removed them from their menus.
We are seeing multiple surging cases of foodborne illnesses across the country from different sources, and it does feel unusual.
It comes as the ongoing parasite outbreak linked to recalled lettuce, also grown in Mexico, expands to 15 states. And that outbreak, more than 6,000 people have gotten sick, and 2 people have died in Michigan.
It is normal to see an increase in foodborne illnesses in the summer, but no question about it, this is testing food safety investigators right now.
After budget cuts and staffing reductions across the public health system, officials are stretched as they respond to multiple multi-state outbreaks at once.
Funding cuts across federal, state, and local levels that have affected our ability to prevent, detect, and investigate these foodborne illnesses. In a specific example, FoodNet, which is a national surveillance program designed to investigate and detect foodborne illnesses, had a big funding cut last year.
Food safety isn't the only concern. More water systems in the U.S. are coming under attack by hackers. An intelligence note reviewed by ABC News provides the clearest indication yet that Iran may be behind the cyber attacks that have targeted utilities in more than a dozen states. The hackers may have been scouting targets months in advance. Officials in Utah identified nearly 500 attempted intrusions from an Iran-linked IP address. Each attempted intrusion was blocked. We've also learned 2 water utilities in New Jersey reported that their automated systems went down, forcing operators to switch to manual controls. Minnesota was the first state to publicly report the hacking.
It ended up not compromising any water supply, but it showed some of the vulnerabilities.
Officials say these attacks have had no impact on drinking water, but they're urging utilities to disconnect systems from the internet.
New concerns about the dwindling supplies of U.S. missiles because of the war in Iran. The Washington Post reports President Trump recently confronted Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Trump reportedly claimed he had been misled about U.S. stockpiles, but the president overnight pushed back on the story, saying, quote, the U.S. has massive amounts of munitions. Additionally, large amounts are being manufactured and shipped to the U.S. The leakers of these treasonous statements are being hunted down. Long-term jail sentences will be sought. Meanwhile, Trump last night said negotiations with Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz are going well.
The armed man arrested at President Trump's golf course near Los Angeles is a Marine veteran. Authorities say Janine Taylor went to the club twice before Trump's visit this week. They say he had an earpiece and took pictures during a security assessment. And they say he had a loaded gun and a phone number connected to the White House. They're now combing through his writings to search for a motive.
Now to the fallout from the high-stakes primary in Michigan, dividing Democrats. Everything from grocery prices to aid for Israel is up for debate. ABC's Karen Hua takes a closer look. Karen, good morning.
Hannah, good morning. Republicans, including President Trump, have come out swinging after those Senate primary results in Michigan. It's a race that could very well determine the balance of power in Washington this fall. Overnight, Michigan's new Democratic Senate nominee, Abdul El-Sayed, firing back at President Trump after the president said this during an event in Las Vegas.
When I watch Abdul, he's full of he hates Jews and he hates Israel.
El-Sayed has been critical of Israel's military action in Gaza and supports cutting off U.S. military aid for Israel. But he's vowed to fight anti-Semitism, and last night he brushed off Trump's comments.
The man can't stay on focus. We're living through an affordability crisis that is generational. People are paying nearly $5 in gas because of a war he started, and half the time, if he's not talking about me, he's talking about the drapes in his ballroom.
The closer than expected primary win by El-Sayed, who's never held elected office, exposes a divided Democratic Party. His positions have been called extreme by critics. He supports abolishing ICE and wants Medicare for all. His Republican opponent, former Congressman Mike Rogers, calls him dangerous.
This kind of radicalism, this kind of meanness and divisiveness is not the right direction for a state like Michigan.
Rogers vows to focus on manufacturing jobs and bringing down utility rates. The bruising new matchup comes as some prominent conservatives are looking beyond both parties entirely. Tucker Carlson says a third party may not be enough to fix the dysfunction in Washington.
So probably going to get a third party or multiple parties. Is that the best system? I don't know. It's better than the one we have. Will that be enough is the question. And the answer, the hard answer, is no.
Now, Carlson recently met with former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and other Trump defectors. Greene posted a photo of the gathering saying, quote, "The movement has begun." Sophie?
Karen, thank you. Nearly 850 buildings have now been damaged or destroyed by wildfires around Spokane, Washington. Tens of thousands of people remain evacuated from their homes, and the fires are only partially contained. Thick smoke has settled over the Northwest, including Portland. Scientists say the effect on air quality is like smoking 7 packs of cigarettes a day. Meanwhile, as drought conditions plague the West, the water levels in the nation's 2 largest reservoirs, Lake Mead and Lake Powell, are now days away from a record low.
Now to the mother on trial outside Boston, charged in the deaths of her 3 children. The family's nanny taking the stand as we learn more about the medications Lindsay Clancy was taking.
The former nanny for Lindsay Clancy's family taking the stand as jurors learn more about the Massachusetts mother charged in the deaths of her 3 children. Elaine Rossi, who worked for the family in the months leading up to the killings, described Clancy as a loving, attentive mother.
What did you observe about her as a mother interacting with her kids?
I observed a wonderful mom who loved her kids, she was very concerned with their safety.
Rossi testifying, Clancy said she was suffering from postpartum issues and having trouble sleeping. But Rossi says she never feared Clancy would harm her kids.
Did you have any concerns about her interacting with the children?
None at all. She was a wonderful mom.
Prosecutors argue Clancy made a calculated decision to carry out the killings to escape her own life. The defense says she was suffering from extreme postpartum psychosis and that the overprescribing of medications altered her mind to the point where she was no longer in control. After the killings, which Clancy has admitted to, she allegedly tried to take her own life, jumping from a window, leaving her paralyzed. Jurors heard from a forensic toxicologist about the prescription drugs found in Clancy's system. He testified the concentration of antidepressants and antipsychotics was well below levels considered toxic or suicidal. The defense argues those results do not show the full picture of Clancy's mental state.
What you're saying is that the numbers alone do not tell the tale of what happened to a particular individual, right?
Correct. They don't tell the entire story.
The trial is expected to last several weeks. If you or someone you know is struggling, you can call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988.
New Mexico is suing the Justice Department over the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The state accuses federal officials of blocking the investigation into sex crimes at Epstein's ranch. But the feds say they're withholding some files because of a court order protecting victims' identities.
Time now for your Thursday weather.
Good morning. It's a steamy stretch on the East Coast. Some scattered storms, too. That goes into the Midwest. Heat and smoke in the Northwest. Some improvement west of the Cascades, but still thick smoke from the Northwest all the way into the northern plains. You see the heat is easing in Seattle. We'll have to wait till the weekend in Portland. Record high Salt Lake City and into Las Vegas. Some flash flooding. No severe weather, but this stretches from all the way from Arizona and New York State down to Florida. See the storms in the morning, Kansas City to St. Louis. We'll see them in the interior Northeast, along with the steam heat into the weekend. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, police save a man swarmed by bees.
But first, what we've learned about the cause of this massive rocket explosion.
And the debate over a new surveillance system being used by police, how some officers are accused of misusing it. We're back with video of a semi-truck colliding with an SUV in Pennsylvania. The force of the crash sent the truck smashing into a pair of garages and a shed, trapping the driver. But everyone is okay. And a close call for a person standing beside a disabled car on this highway in Ohio. They escaped after being hit by another car and leaping onto the concrete barrier. That driver was traveling on the emergency shoulder and couldn't merge back in time.
Investigators say a faulty oxygen valve was behind this massive explosion of a Blue Origin rocket back in May. The explosion on the launch pad sent shockwaves from Cape Canaveral. Companies making repairs, hoping to return to flight later this year.
We turn now to the debate over a new surveillance system being used by police and new allegations that some officers are misusing the technology.
This morning, a now former North Carolina police officer is facing charges, accused of using her department's controversial license plate cameras to track her boyfriend's ex-wife. Investigators say Elizabeth Snowman accessed the department's flock camera system dozens of times for personal use. Flock cameras automatically scan every license plate that passes, logging the vehicle, the time, and the location into a searchable database that police can use to track vehicles.
She accessed the computers, the LPR cameras, to find information and track her boyfriend's ex-wife.
Newsweek reports officers in at least a dozen states have faced allegations of misusing flock license plate reader systems, including 10 officers in Georgia in recent weeks. Police say the camera technology has been a game changer for solving crimes, but
it all goes up in smoke when you have cops like this violating the system.
Flock Safety says it now has about 120,000 cameras installed across the U.S. Critics call it a mass surveillance system, sparking protests over privacy concerns. Cameras in Houston have been vandalized, covered in spray paint. In Winona, Minnesota, all 8 of the city's cameras were stolen. Flock's CEO saying the company is now under a coordinated attack, but insists America can have both safety and privacy. The American Civil Liberties Union says more than 50 communities nationwide have terminated their flock camera contracts in the last year.
As for that case in North Carolina, the former officer has not publicly responded to the charges.
Coming up, the new kind of flu shot that's just been approved.
Also ahead, the gene editing process that could eliminate pet allergies. We look into the pros and cons.
Back now with an air traffic safety incident involving Marine One with President Trump on board. Officials are reviewing safety protocols after a passenger jet came closer than allowed to the president's helicopter as it was lifting off near the White House. Controllers apparently did not hear the required 3-minute warning to temporarily shut down the airspace. They say the president was never in danger.
The FDA has approved the first flu vaccine based on mRNA technology. Experts say it will make it easier to rapidly target a prevalent strain of the virus. mRNA was used in COVID vaccines. The new flu shot is authorized for people ages 50 and older and should be available this fall.
Millions of people suffer from pet allergies, but those allergies could one day be a thing of the past thanks to a new procedure.
This little beagle named Bailey is not just any pup.
Good girl.
Bailey and her sister Alfie are the first dogs genetically engineered to be hypoallergenic. Researchers say they were able to eliminate the primary allergen in dogs.
I grew up with allergies to dogs, which meant that I could never have a dog growing up. I've lived with Bailey for over a year now and haven't had a single allergic reaction. It's been completely life-changing, and she's such a delight.
It's still unclear if this type of gene editing procedure, which uses a technology called CRISPR, would be safe or practical on a larger scale because of the gene that was switched off for this study is not the only allergy-causing culprit in dogs.
So we don't exactly know just how effective or broadly useful this could be for stopping dog allergy humans.
If the treatment can one day be used more broadly, it could help the 1 in 8 Americans who have an allergy that makes living with a dog difficult. But critics are raising ethical concerns.
It opens the door to a lot more people being able to own pets. On the negative side, it may discourage people from trying to use strays and unwanted animals. They're not engineered to be, allergy free.
Researchers say so far, both Bailey and Elfie have had normal growth and development, but the long-term effects still need to be studied.
They also say to make this commercially viable, more needs to be done to reduce the cost.
A heroic rescue in southern Texas, police saving a disabled man being attacked by a swarm of bees. The officer suffered multiple stings as they rushed into the swarm and lifted the man into their cruiser. The man is still recovering in the hospital. The officers are okay. Coming up, a winning lottery ticket thrown in the trash. The ordeal to get it back.
Plus, the legal battle over the Buc-ee's logo ramping up.
Time to check the pulse, beginning with a new fee for some airline travelers.
Yeah, so a budget airline overseas has an idea that we kind of hope won't catch on. Australia's Jetstar airline will soon be charging a fee for storing your carry-on bag in the overhead bin.
The fee will be $18 each way, but could cost more depending on the route. A small corner store in Cincinnati is getting a helping hand as it faces a lawsuit from a famous gas station chain.
The apparel brand Cindy Shirts is now selling a special t-shirt and special hats to support Beaver's mini marts. Buc-ee's gas station is suing Beaver's, claiming that the customers may be confused by its logo that features a smiling beaver, even though Mini Mart has no gas pumps and is miles from the highway. Next, a woman's lottery dream that turned into a nightmare.
She accidentally threw out a $1 million winning ticket. The woman from Italy contacted the garbage company in her town, and they took pity on her. Workers then spent hours digging through tons of trash, and guess what? They found it. She cried when they told her, and she promised to cover the cost of all that searching.
Hopefully a little extra bonus for those workers as well. Yeah. Meanwhile, still no big winner in the Powerball drawing last night. That means Saturday night's drawing is going to be worth an estimated $856 million.
Get those tickets.
And save your ticket if you have the winning one. Don't throw it away. Next, a view of the sun like we've never seen before.
Yeah, astronomers using a telescope in Hawaii have released these images from the sun. They're processed from multiple exposures. They show swirling patterns in the sun's superheated plasma that have never directly been observed before. We're told that plasma is about 10,000 degrees.
Kind of reminds me of a lava lamp.
Oh, yeah. And finally, a relief pitcher for the Mets is probably still celebrating his big achievement.
Yeah, Jeffrey Young was called up for the minors Monday, and now he's notched his first big league strikeout. That sent him leaping into the air, and then, as you can imagine, right back to work.
Top headlines next. Checking more top stories, an investigation is underway after a drone packed with explosives was found at a German airport, which is used by allies to help Ukraine. They disabled the drone near a cargo area, but officials are now concerned of a potential plot to sabotage German planes.
The CDC is warning that a salmonella outbreak from jalapeno peppers is spreading. Those peppers were grown in Mexico and distributed to chains including Chipotle and Qdoba. Dozens of people in 27 states have gotten sick.
Federal researchers now say that Appalachia's black lung rates are the highest they've been in nearly 50 years. They say even coal miners with as few as 15 years underground are suffering from the disease, and they're calling for limits on time spent coal mining.
Violent crime in America's biggest cities is down from last year, according to a preliminary data from major city police chiefs. Homicides have dropped more than 17%. Robberies are down 16%.
Today's weather, smoky conditions in the northwest, humidity returns in the northeast and along the east coast.
And finally, our favorite contest of the year. Here's Danny New.
Welcome to the epicenter of reptilian races. Tonight, ESPN once again kicks off its annual celebration of the world's most eccentric sports with a 4-day event known as the Ocho.
Estela Nunez.
The competitions range anywhere from pillow fights,
T-Rexes away,
to an annual event known as the T-Rex World Championship Races.
You can hear why you won.
For the second year in a row, I flew out to Seattle to serve as the on-air host for the broadcast, while grabbing behind-the-scenes footage of the roughly 300 competitors who traveled to Emerald Downs Racetrack last month.
Oh my God, look at me now, I'm here!
Folks traveled from all over the country to sprint in an inflatable T-Rex costume and try to win a giant trophy.
Are you going to win?
No, I'm going to finish.
and that is winning. Including 79-year-old Lance here. He ate me. Why'd you let him eat me? And 4-year-old Weston, who liked watching me get eaten a lot more than the dog behind us.
Oh, and the leader fell.
Of course, it can be a little dangerous to run with a bunch of carnivores, which is why it helps to bring support. For example, Andy here saw her entire family show up sporting Andy T-Rex t-shirts. Why'd you get everybody organized to do this?
Because we love Andy and we wanted to support her. We thought this was awesome.
But if you're still wondering, why do people go through so much effort to come rumble and stumble as reptiles? Well, I think 13-year-old Lucas here put it quite eloquently.
It's a great opportunity, and my mom forced me to do this, so.
That's a great reason to do anything. The T-Rex World Championship races air tonight at 8 p.m. on our sister station, ESPN2. And by the way, this year is the 10-year anniversary of the Ocho. Guys.
That's your GMA First Look.